Dun 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 dun. What's going on, everybody? That's right. We here, Luffy. In the words of Ace, the last words of Ace. Yeah, man. So you feel me? It's your boy. Yeah, man. Look, I'm hype as shit because I barely step outside anyway, and when I get nice things, they never really see the light of day unless I got like something special going on, and then that's when I want to rock it. Goddamn. But today and shit, really, for as long as I stream, that could be the time to showcase some pieces I got. You feel me? This is a custom made jacket. You know what I'm saying? We got the straw hat to represent the straw hats. You already know the timing. Today's episode, I just covered the Deku joint, right? Today's episode, we gonna get into One Piece. You feel me? Look, I said to myself, I gotta be crispy, okay? I had to be crispy, fresh, because even though you could talk about One Piece when you rugged, it's nice to have a clear representation, you know what I'm saying, to talk about the show. You feel me? So yeah, man, without further ado, it's just gonna be a free flow of my appreciation for the show, right? Like my man's Anthony August Waters, he put me on to the show, and it was a show that I've seen like in the past, like if I go to a mall or like if I'm on Jamaica Avenue or something. You got a lot of like shops and stores that have anime, and so I've seen it like in passing, you know what I'm saying, as a kid growing up, but I never really sat down to watch it. I think certain things like Dragon Ball Z kind of live with me and other animes along the way, and then when I found out like they put out like over 1,000+ episodes, I was just like, well shit, how the hell am I gonna watch all of that? Like, how am I gonna catch up? Like, that's crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Phenomenal, but crazy, right? And so what's interesting about it, what my guy told me, he was like, yo, Brav, I'm telling you, like, the amount of references you about to, pick up, and I already know, like, you just imagine, you already doing what you're doing now with the shows you watch now. Like, I'm telling you, and you already got the pirate theme going. Like, I'm telling you, like, that's going to add to the arsenal. So I'm like, all right, you know what? Last year I made some time. You know what I mean? I made some time. And I want to say, like, it took me, if I'm being really honest, it took me literally 0 to 1,000+ about 3.5 months. 3.5 months. You might, I don't know what you might think. I don't know if that's too fast, too whatever. But for me, like, I watched it when I was at work. I watched it in the morning, like as if I was a kid making breakfast. You know what I'm saying? Before I go to work or on the days off. I watched it before I go to bed. You know what I'm saying? Because, the show was that good. I just kept watching it episode after episode. You know what I mean? Eventually I got to all the movies and all of that. But, I just, my appreciation for that anime, it is so top tier. Like, the storytelling, the world building, the character development, just, it's very close to like real life, even though the powers make it like, okay, like that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's still like, niggas is going up against the government, burning flags and shit, just a pirate crew against the world, and the alliances that Luffy is able to, form along the way because of his bravery and his integrity to his friends, or whoever he calls a friend when he helps them. They repay the favor in a gigantic way. You even got giants coming through on some next level shit. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, of course I see myself like Luffy, but I see myself as a lot of those characters too. You know what I mean? I think we could all relate to, that show just because it was just well written on, the experiences that people go through. When people be power drunk and want to like kill people and rule over people or plot on people, and you got to have observation hockey to see it through. You got to have conquerors hockey to kind of make the peasants, drop, because it's not even worth using energy or spilling an ounce of blood, for anybody that's not worthy of the aura. It's just crazy, bro. It's just crazy. And my friend told me, he was like, you can't, the only thing though, like, you can't get the hat. Cause I was like, yo, like, I'm gonna buy the hat. But he's like, yo, you can't get the hat till you reach like, a certain part in the anime where like when he got a train, he's like, yo, we're not strong enough. And then Kuma was teleporting everybody. He was like, yo, like, wait till you get a little bit in, like, further, like, when he really honed his craft and his power and shit like that, watch a little bit more and a little bit more, and you know what I mean? You'll get to that point where you could put on the hat. And, I bought the hat, but on God, I never put on the hat until he, told me like where it was that once I be caught up to a way, then it would make sense to wear the hat. And, that's when I wore the hat. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a straw hat pirate now. Shout outs to Luffy. Shout outs to the whole squad. Frankie, Nami, Robin, Zoro, Sanji, Chopper. You feel me? Shout outs to the Going Merry. We shouting out everybody in that damn show. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so fire, man. Like, I'm glad I tapped into One Piece. I see that it's getting like even more popular now, and I don't know maybe if I was just super late or what, but I'm seeing a lot of content about this shit now. So maybe it's because since I'm following my interests, my algorithm reflects that. And hey, if I'm late to the party, I'm up to date though. You know what I mean? And see, my friend, he would try to bring up the fact that, like, because us OGs that watched the show, we was waiting episode for episode, like, and it's like, it's crazy because it's like, I think all of that was literally just one season. And now the next season is going to be like the Elbath. And, now with technology and where we're at in the world, we could just binge shit and, we don't really have to really wait so much. So, I'm excited. I can't wait to see what they do with the next arc. You know what I'm saying? Shit is just OP. Like, every anime has their, you're automatically gonna compare it to what was, before it or whatever. But all of these animes, man, they reveal something about us if we really tap in and find out for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what I was talking about with the My Hero episode that we just made, was that, like, cultivating your power and figuring out how to use it, how to get stronger, and, you know what I mean, put yourself ultimately up to the test. For those that didn't have powers, they had to still figure out a way to protect the people they care about. So whether that meant they had to lean in on technology or being a sharper shooter or learning how to sail the boat, properly and all of that, like, all of these things matter. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's moment will come. You know what I'm saying? To when it's time to use that said power and shine and really deliver. You know what I mean? And I really feel like One Piece delivered, in a major way. And I'm glad that where I'm at in my life, it made sense to watch it because I had the time for it. You know what I'm saying? And now I got the time to apply it to, what I got going on in my arsenal. I'm wearing this Gear 4 jacket customed out. Because I got a song called Gear 4. Gear 4 is one of my favorite transformations from Luffy. Even though I like Snake Man and Gear 5 and shit like that, Gear 5 is like the Toon Force ability is OP. Like when he fought Kaido, I was just like, yo, like my man had his arms in dude's eyes. Like it was crazy. It was great. And then when it was on the Vegapunk series, you know, they in Egghead Island or whatever, and he was fighting what's my man's name? The leopard, Lucci. Oh my God, when they was fighting Lucci, like, you know, Lucci was excited to fight. He was like, yo, what's that new form about? Like, let me see that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, the drums of liberation, like, I moved to the beat of my own drum. You understand? Like, you know, this anime shit, this shit is really a lifestyle for me. Like, we pushing peace and positivity. You know what I'm saying? Like, we pushing integrity, friendships, love, and embracing the fact that, you know, when you look at Luffy's crew, they're literally from different parts of the world. Russia, Sweden, Brazil, France, you know, Japan, America. Different parts of the world is coming together as characters on that boat sailing these rough seas, the Red Line, the Grand Line. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make it to Laugh Tale and shit, just to laugh over a few stories like about the journey and what it took to get there. Like, shout outs to Gold D Roger for inspiring them pirates and inspiring me. You know, like, art is just reflections of life, you know. Shout outs, like, you know, it's amazing to me how these characters are able to come to life for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the realest shit. This shit it's realer than VR. You know what I'm saying? It's realer than VR. This is literally how I see the world, how I apply myself to the world as I world build with my music, with my craft. You know what I'm saying? And you know, like, I'm just at a point now where it's like, yo, like, I'm just gonna keep cooking this content, you know, keep inspiring others, and it'll all work out. It'll all work out, man. I'm not even tripping. All I gotta do is show up. That's it. Just show up, you know, just show up, pop out. You know what I mean? And I feel like One Piece, you know, with Luffy, it troubled me a lot about his character because it just seems like he's an airhead to just do whatever and think later. You know, he never had a plan for shit. He just went in. And for me, for those that know me, like, I'm tired of winging shit. I'm not gonna lie. But I'll tell you what, I'm building the plane as I fly it right now as we speak, recording this way. You know, the way how I live, the space that I have to do what I do. You know what I'm saying? I didn't let it stop me from emitting my frequency to you guys. You know what I mean? From sharing my knowledge, sharing my love and light about things I care about. That's what this channel is about. You know, there's going to be things on the internet that be chatty patty, you know, and whatnot. And we know that can get the clicks and the views and stuff like that. And we might even participate just because we could use a boost. You know what I'm saying? I'm not against it. I just got to figure out how I could talk about it in a fly way and then keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? These are like energy sources. And I feel like if I can keep putting out this level of energy source for y'all on the anime level, where it's like now the comment section or the lives that we could have, you know, we could just run up the numbers just talking about fly shit we talking about. Like when the arc comes out, I might want to create episode after episode. You know what I'm saying? Talking about a breakdown of each arc. Like that could be a thing to do because why not? Why not? I gotta build my channel up, man. It's not easy. It's not easy. You know what I mean? Like, I could say that a lot of the work that I'm doing right now, it's on me to do it. But, you know, I also have people outside of me that are masters in their own craft. And so, you know, if it's time to lean on any one of them to help add to what we got going on to make this shit that much better, you already know that's what I'm in it for, is to make the product as best as it can be. And, you know, we having fun. We having fun. For anybody watching me right now, if you got any topics, like I said, about animes or shit you want me to cover, you know, my email, I guess that you could send it to would be blamebent@gmail. You know what I'm saying? You know, or you could leave it in the comment section. You know what I mean? Like, One Piece, yo, like, it's crazy. I'm not even gonna lie, because it talks about, in a way, like going on a voyage, right? Like chasing your dreams or sailing for your dreams, or never knowing what island is gonna bring you the next mission, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, in a cool way. I know I could travel like that, right? I know I could do that. I know that I could drop everything right now that I'm building up right now and just get up and go, you know, be somewhere else and live somewhere else. But you know what? Like, when I was growing up, I went through a lot of that growing up. New schools, new friends, new cribs, new states. Like, it was unstable. You know what I'm saying? So for me to finally get into the pocket of stability over the years, and to then piece by piece get all my equipment, everything I need in one shop, one spot, and just go. Like, this is me doing the sailing now, you know, in a digital, online, internet way. We could talk about different topics, talk about different worlds. You know, we can tap into different mind states and then create. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing right now. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you know, I got a Cold Song Gear 4 on the way. You know, inspired by the jacket, inspired by when he first turned up on Doflamingo. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit was just crazy to me. Like, he's just built. And I knew he had that form because he was definitely training on that island with Rayleigh. And he wasn't training with what's her name? Boa Hancock, but it was that same island, you know what I mean, with bad bitches on that. Bad bitches on that island. Stop playing with me, you feel me? So, man, you know what I'm saying? I knew he had something special. They just had to kind of slowly leak it, you know what I mean? But nah, that shit was fire, man. Like, I'm not gonna hold you. And, you know, in a crazy way, because, you know me, I like to find where I like to find where I identify, like, you know what I'm saying, on certain things. When I made Final Form, right, it was off the combinations of Sora's Final Form, because I had the Keyblades. Matter of fact, bong, I could just show you better than I could tell you. You know what I'm saying? So when I made this album, I dropped it in 2022. And when I was coming up with the concept, because it's a layered concept, it's very layered. You know, what I was showing you guys in that artwork right there was the buildup of where we are today, literally. And that's what I could appreciate about my guy. What's his name? Oda, the dude that wrote One Piece. I could appreciate the writing because, you know, a lot of people think that if they just make a project and put it out, that it's a stat that you got a project that you just put out. But it's like when you world build and you tie songs together, concepts together, you know, that one album is going to connect with all these other singles and albums. It wasn't just its own thing and that was just something I had to do. This shit is a writing process where it connects to the other batches of work that we're putting out there. You know, I take it into consideration. And what's fly about Gear 5 Luffy, what's fly about him is that in a way, for right now as we know it, is his final form. It's his godly form, right? From an ancestral time. Back when they was doing the Nika dance. You know, shout outs to I Show Speed for doing the dance out in Africa, man. I love his energy and light too, man. I gotta do a video about that man too, because he's just fucking awesome, man. Shout outs to you, bro. But, you know, it's like, dude right now is in his final form, the Joy Boy state. And for me, final form was a combination of forms that, you know, was the mind states making the project. So we had the Ultra Instinct Goku shirt on, right? Right now, Ultra Instinct is Goku's latest godly angelic transformation. So some would say that that's a final form, even though I'm sure Goku's gonna find a way to tweak it beyond its original state. But, you know, we'll see. Sora, like I said, you know, his final form, if you ever played Kingdom Hearts 2, I gotta sneeze. Whew, bless. If you ever played Kingdom Hearts 2, you know, if you, I think, defeat a certain level of Heartless and Nobodies, you'll just randomly get the form. You'll just randomly get the form. And he's like basically at that point like a god. Like he's just hovering. The keyblades are floating behind him. He don't really gotta hold them anymore. And, you know, he just make barrage moves. You know what I'm saying? Just you know what I'm saying? Like with the blades, doing all types of magic. And so, you know, you get that form later in the game, but that's Sora's like godly form, and he also got an anti-form where there are no keyblades. It's just him all black, just super fast and rapid, and it's just crazy, right? So you got Dragon Ball Z, Kingdom Hearts. What I'm wearing is the Hokage jacket from a shop by some folks called Left Side 91. I don't know if they're still active because I tried to look for them recently, but shout outs to them. And shit, while we here, shout outs to my guy that made the jacket too. Let me pop up the credentials so I don't be wrong about it in any type of way, because, you know, big ups to my geyser. Anime Aura brand. So from Ho Chi Minh, Vietnam. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, shout outs to the Aura brand. You feel me? I think he also, the guy also said that I was the only one that ever I was the first person that bought the Gear 4 jacket. Cause when I saw it, I was just like, yo, that's kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like I need to pull up with that. I think he goes by Mr. D. At least that's what it says on Etsy. But shout outs to him. If you want to get your anime swag on, I just dropped a gem. Go find my man on Etsy. You know, Aura brand, anime Aura brand. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, anime Aura brand. Yep. So, and follow him on Instagram too. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, it's like, I don't know if I kind of, the album. So, you know, I'm wearing the Hokage jacket because Naruto tapping into his Baryon mode, I believe, was his final form. Takes his life force energy and stuff like that to be in that form in a certain amount of time. And, you know, I had made a song called Baryon Mode and Lord 7th, or I think I might have called it 7th Hokage on the album. But what I did was, and I also have the Jamaican bandana on, which is like symbolic to like me wearing a crown or me going to war or me repping, you know, that cultural side of me too, my roots side of me, right? And, you know, with all of that polymerized together, you know what I mean, to make this artwork, even down to the keyblades was a strategy too, because if you peep, the blade over my shoulders from Terra, right? And let me just get this back. The blade on my shoulder is from a dude named Terra, and I think his keyblade is called Ends of the Earth, right? And then, because you know Terra Earth, and then you got the Braveheart keyblade right here, which is Riku's blade. Riku had different blades. I think he had the Soul Eater when he first started out on the Destiny Island with Sora. And then over time, as he transitioned, you know, to the light and was working with Mickey, I believe he then got his Braveheart blade, right? And so for me, it was like, and I got the Kingdom Key too, right? We'll get to that. But I felt like, even though it was easy to say I related to Sora, because who wouldn't want to be the main character? I saw a lot of me in Riku and Terra. You know what I mean? And being that Terra gay, or like, I guess when he linked up on the island, he might have let Riku hold the Keyblade, or he might have touched him like on the head, like, you know what I'm saying, or some shit. And I think because of that, he was chosen to be a Keyblade wielder of some sort. And so I just thought that that relationship should be visibly seen. That's like an Easter egg in itself, like for the Kingdom Hearts fans that know the games and know the order and the history of it all and shit like that. But for me, it was like I knew it mattered. You know what I'm saying? And I also dropped a song called Ends of the Earth with my guy Diggs the Prophecy. Shout outs to Diggs. So, you know, that was a Kingdom Hearts song, just talking about the ends of the earth and the world as we know it, which was also a metaphor of me recognizing that everything is about to go to a digital place, a digital format, a new world. This is more so, I think, what One Piece would call it. Yeah, I think they just fucked around and called it New World. I think that's what it was. New World. Right? So on this album, I had songs like Digital Paradise. I had songs like King Odysseus. Let me just grab this shit. This shit is so classic. Like, ahead of its time. On God. Yeah, first track. King Odysseus. Two Keys in the Cut. Right? Air Picasso. Right? Digital Paradise. God is My Shield. Sage of the Sixth Element, which Sage of the Six Paths is a Naruto thing, and the Sixth Element is homage to the movie The Fifth Element. But we saying the Sixth Element like the Sixth Sense aspect, even though it's Bruce Willis in both movies. So even that in itself, and that being strategically in the middle of the album, it's telling a story even through the titles before you hit the Sonics. It's not just random titles just to say it's a project. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's calculated. So then you got Seventh Hokage, which right next to that. So Seventh Hokage, let me not even skip it. Seventh Hokage, I was talking about one day I'm gonna be Hokage, like referencing Naruto. You know what I'm saying? And when I'm saying that one day I'm gonna be, you know, the artist of my city or my state or my country. Like one day, even though for Naruto it was a village for him, like for us in rap and music, we want to ascend to higher heights. And 9 times out of 10, being that, you know, it's regional for most people when they consume music, you know, I'll be definitely repping New York and the upstate format of that. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was saying. I'm gonna be a Hokage recognized, you know, in that great way, right? And then I got Baryon mode. So now you get early childhood dreams, talking about the big dreams of being the outcast and not accepted. And then you go to Baryon mode, where that's the 8th track, right? And you speed up to like damn near when you in Boruto and you already had a kid, and you and Sasuke already them dudes, and you Hokage now. But now it's a crazy threat that I gotta eliminate, because it can get crazy, if not. And I gotta tap in with my Jinchuriki, my 9-tail Kurama, to, kind of really go all in like a final form, right? Then you got the Jamaican Cowboy song, which, correlates to the bandana and me just having a nice country 808 futuristic cowboy bebop type vibe, and I mentioned Texas Roadhouse in here to give it more of that country vibe. Bob Marley, the inspiration of Buju Banton, all of that goes into the mind state of this song. Legendary slapper. Sure. All right, and then I got 3 Naruto joints, because very Naruto like based, even though I'm wearing different elements. Hokage Rock, right? So now I'm talking about Hokage Rock, the Mount Rushmore, where I see myself in the game. Like, this is early storytelling of how I feel like it's gonna go, and it's also showing you the war. So it's showing you, where I'm humble on one knee with my sword, and then it's showing you, what I'm gonna get engaged with. You know what I'm saying? Then you got Ultra Ego. Now, even though it's Goku on my shirt, and you thinking I should have Ultra Instinct, I flipped it and went Ultra Ego, because I already made a song called Ultra Instinct, which was on my Predalion Chapter Black tape, which I dropped back in 2021. COVID heavy around that time. People, if you didn't take the shot, they wanted you dead and all sorts of shit. Shit was crazy. So, Ultra Ego, I felt like, since I got Ultra Instinct, just switch to Ultra Ego. I still got Ultra on my shirt. Even though it's Goku, I still got Ultra on my shirt. So it was just another way to just create another song within the same world, which would connect to my other tape, which would connect to the anime. You know what I'm saying? It's all extensions of self. And, I'm talking a lot about, the righteous hero, and just what I went through in this shit. And it just had a swagged out melody on some nice bass, man. I really like songs like that, man. That beat, Forgotten, by the way, made all of these beats. He made all of these beats. D Brown Sounds, David Brown, he engineered the whole project. Get designs here by my guy Angel. His art direction of quality that you see here. I took the pose, obviously. The things that I bring to the, like, that's a real sword. Like, that's not just photoshopped or something. Like, I bring things to the table. You know what I mean? And then my man got his skill set and his tool belt to go crazy. You know what I'm saying? So when elements combine, man, it's a crazy mashup in force. And then the last song we have Final Form. Now, final is 5 letters, so is Blaine, and form is 4 letters, which is my last name, Bent. So that's also the hidden layer of how I seen this project. Not only that, but I dropped it in a time where we'll never experience it again. It was in the year 2022, on the 2nd month, on the 22nd, at 2:22 a.m. was when it dropped. So we hit all the 2s. I'm seeing license plates as I'm making this album, like 4 2s, 2 2 2, like, You know, I'm also big on the angel numbers too, man. Shout out to everybody that rock with the same, thing. Like, leave your comment on what's your favorite numbers to see, or where do you see those numbers in random places and stuff like that. Shit's funny. But yeah, man, Final Form, like, it's truly a masterpiece. Like, 12 songs, shit is just I even got the 222 logo down here too. I got the castle, the B note, the Zen logo, and my first Running Man logo too, which, it's just everything about it came full circle. Like, everything. Like, this shit is. I wrote the last verse back when I was working at I was in the Holiday Inn parking lot back when I used to work there. And like, I couldn't finish it, man. I couldn't leave it. Like, I had to finish it. I was in the parking lot just going in that morning, man. Like, and I called up my dude, and you know what I'm saying, he was working on the artwork, layering it up, finished the verse in the parking lot, went home, I think that day, working on some shit till the morning, and then he sent me the text of the artwork for the album. And I'm just looking at my phone, proud as fuck, like, damn, like, yo, like, we here, like, you know what I'm saying? Like for us, man, like, I don't know how other artists do it, but, for me, I'm heavily about the art, because, to me, if I get the right artwork in my hands, that's another album. I could fuck around and make an album, a movie, whatever I want out of that. When I get the artwork, if I could visually see it and think it and put it together, like the swords was custom. You know what I'm saying? The swords was custom. The Braveheart, I had to really wait months to get that shit made for me. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to, just find a high-res image online, but like, I need these things in my psyche. I need them in my presence. You know what I'm saying? To always take that inspiration and you know what I mean, fuel me. Like, it's what fuels me, And of course, you can go to the Comic-Con conventions and shit like that, and really really get your shine on, your little flex and stuff. But these things are delicates. They're very delicate, and when you realize, like, like, it's crazy, when I was making the album that I felt like was the hype of my life, I felt like I was closer to death. Every time I make something that's dope, I feel like it's almost like as if I don't deserve it for some weird reason. Like, it's almost like, damn, like, I did something so great. Now, any minute, I'm just, get a heart attack, or just, the Fed's just gonna put a black bag over my head because I said too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know why I'm paranoid like that, but I'm really happy that I was able to live to see it, hear it, make it, share it. The process, like, it may seem like I just drop songs like it's candy, but to spin it back to One Piece, the way how they was dropping episodes at a time, and then to see all the love that this show is getting, you know what I'm saying? Like, because of their consistency, their hustle, their output, their grind, like, to just know that I was operating from the same space, right, with Final Form. And now we got Gear 5 Luffy. He was just to his own drum. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was liberating himself from his own sound. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Like, it's crazy. Like, and then, I got, like, in some of my music, like, I got different modes of me sonically, where, like, if I go on my Yardie Jamaican cowboy, like, bag, where I bring in and blend in Caribbean sounds and influence mixed in with my raps, right, where it comes with custom grit, sometimes I might auto tune the raps too. You know what I mean? For sauce factors and flavors, and like it's like I'll say the illest shit you've ever heard in a calm, smooth auto tune way, to where it's like it doesn't make it that threatening. But it's also because I'm catering to the song's needs. Like it probably doesn't require me to be so brash on a soft chill record. Now if you give me them boom baps, I'ma definitely talk to you direct, but then I still would probably sauce it up with the auto on my Caribbean shit with my ad libs, or I might be harmonizing in the background while my main lead is rapping, because I like the duality and the best of both worlds. And I also know that you don't just always put everything on everything. Like I create moments where you're allowed to miss it and be like, oh, I was expecting it, but it didn't happen this time. Yeah, you could appreciate that track for what that track had to offer. You know what I'm saying? So it's just different. It's a case by case, song by song basis thing. You know what I mean? And like, funny enough, talking about life after death, whether you got Cole doing his Biggie homage to Luffy being kind of facing death damn near on the whole Wano arc, but he kept coming back, and when he came back that time, he was able to tap into a different frequency of sound to just jumpstart his heart and his rhythm, which then changed his aura, right? It then changed his settings, his reality, to where now his sound shifted him into a state of mind as we know it, called Joy Boy, or Gear 5 Luffy, where it's just complete ultimate tune force. And it's like yo, like it was almost damn near meant to be, to see an animation that is really more to home, because it's like, you know what I'm saying, the world building on this shit, when it's the government involved, the amount of money, what people would do for the berries, or if there's a bounty on your head, how I'm talking about how I feel paranoid, I feel like I gotta protect myself at times or not be seen, because it is just like, when you tap into these states of mind that can create these songs, these movies, it's like you're a freak of nature damn near, you know what I'm saying? And people could then study you or try to figure out, like, damn, like, what is he doing over there? Like, oh, he probably got writers, or oh, it's probably AI. Too bad, too sad, like too late. Like, we was doing this shit before these things came out. We was already looking elite before the AI. Now that we got the AI, it's even more of an advantage. It's even more of a tool. We could really flood the market the way how we want to, and all we got to do is just show up and create. Not every time I'm gonna be in the space to make music and create it, because I also know that, and a lot of people don't like to wait on this, but I also know that sometimes I gotta charge up in life with my well of inspiration, or just me going through things so that I could pull from it. You know what I'm saying? And oftentimes that's what writes the music. Oftentimes when I go in the stew, I might not have the whole song fleshed out like how I used to back in the days when I had time to sit down and write, whether I was on a bus or I was on my 15, at work, or, I'm in my car before I go to work, or late night driving around thinking about shit. Then some memory come to mind where I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna put that in the song. Like, there's different ways of how I collect information, and oftentimes it requires me to consume, content that's going on in the world that maybe I could flip into a line or a story or whatever. And then it's times where I can't really digest too much noise because I'm not listening to, focused on what I really want to talk about, what really matters to me. And so it's a lot of that going on. And you could of course, manually just say, yeah, I'm gonna write this song. This is gonna be about this. I'm gonna say all of this, and then I'm gonna put that to the side. Then I'm gonna write this song. Like, you could do it like that. I don't know. Like, depending on how it comes out in the end, is all anyone cares about. So if you could write it out like that and then execute it flawless, like, you a machine. You might as well get some AI too. Not to write your verses or anything like that if you really are about, going into the ranks with your work. Because I know that's important to some people. It's important to me. But you could use AI to scout information, and then you use your mind, your brain power, to then decode the information and recode the information. You know what I'm saying? Just dropping gems. Just dropping gems. And so yeah, when you digest content or an anime like One Piece, where it's so potent and pungent on concepts and belief systems, and even to the fabrics, like even to the clothes they wear, right? Like, even to the clothes they wear, they be changing up, fits every time they land on an island or some shit. Every time they spin a new block. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of crazy, like, that level of detail, instead of just wearing the same fit. That impresses me. Like, that actually impresses me. Yeah, man. Shout outs to all my One Piece fans, man. Sorry it took me, at age 32 going into 33, realizing its greatness. But, I'm here now. It's forever now. You know what I mean? And, I pray they, it's crazy. I saw something on Instagram that said Oda, I think, was requested by, I don't know if it was requested, but it was, I guess, somebody that might have had cancer. It was like a kid, and I think she wanted to know how One Piece ended before she, transitions. And he really pulled up to the hospital, I believe, and told her. I think she might have cried, and then she was like, "It's perfect," or some shit like that. And for the author, man, to already know the ending, like, man, I don't, because I feel like my music is the life I'm living and going through, and and it's like, for my music to end, it would mean that I would have to, like, not be here, or maybe I get to a certain age where I just can't. And then, even then, I mean, if I'm late in my age, you don't even know what type of tech is going to be out around that time to still create and do what you do. So, it's just hard to say when something's going to end. I think maybe even a lot of people that see people transition into doing different things too also feels like, damn, like, did he stop making music because now he finds it, more comfortable to just talk on a mic and pod like everybody in the world? And, to be honest, I mean, I'll say this, like, even though I made a song called No Breaks, I don't think it's just because I don't put out the same clip of music that it's like I'm stopping. I think, when I've, like, put it this way, I've always been in the art room. Like, I never left the art room. I never left art class. I'm sculpting, painting, drawing, I'm just in the lab. I'm just cooking. All of it is art to me. And I also understand, like, how important visuals are, how important it is to connect to your audience, be personable, show things about yourself that's relatable. And yeah, I think this, if you look at it, this is like an audio adventure that is side by side with the rhymes. You know what I'm saying? It's just another layer. It's just another format to that. You know, that's all it is. The same way how Luffy, has different layers and levels to his power scale and what he's able to do with his imagination. The same way how I felt about making albums like Final Form, Captain Black, Jack Sparrow, which I had that tape before I even watched the anime, because I mean everybody know Jack Sparrow, right? But I didn't think that was gonna correlate with a kid that wants to be the king of the pirates and to really truly be free. You know what I'm saying? And I think me doing this YouTube and other things like it, where it can be a stream of income coming in for me, if I'm able to garner that level of money or access, then man, like, just think of all the shit we could do, all the shit we could build. You know what I'm saying? Think about that. Like, I've been doing all of this shit off my regular 9 to 5 money, man. I've been doing all of this shit, off. I know how to trade and sell things too, furniture, whatever, whatever. I know how to make some money, but it's like when you got streams of income coming in off the shit that you do, the shit that you make. I get paid from SoundCloud, some music, off the music I got on there. My distro kid get a couple of dollars over there or whatever from all the streaming stuff. Like, I'm just creating different ways to get paid, man. The more money, at least you guys know what it looks like when I don't have that much money or time. And you know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm able to do all that I'm doing with what I was able to achieve and earn, you know what I'm saying? And I'm still putting my best foot forward, and you're entertained and you want to see where the story goes. I mean, because I know the ending hits people in real life, right? Like, I don't know where Oda is mentally, where he's like, yo, like, this show is a run, but I just want to devote my time more to my family. My money is at a certain position where even if it wasn't about the money got comfortable now. The money is making its own money. And so now if I want to, raise my family or my kids, whatever, and, be with my wife or whatever, like, I feel like everybody deserves that. And it might feel like an ending to people that have been consistently entertained, but, that's the thing about life too. Like, nothing is forever. All of us collectively watching, blessings if you could achieve over 100 years living, but would you really want to when everyone isn't here to share the things that you're still happy to share? Because I think down to the core of human beings, like, we want to get to a place where we love each other and we share with each other. But, in the world that we live in, where it's hyper competitive and it's hyper dog eat dog world type of aspect, it's you got everybody fending for themselves. And Luffy put his life on the line for all his crewmates, all of them. Luffy identified where they was gonna be the best at, and he said, yo, join my team. You a chef. You want to be the best swordsman. You want to be the best archaeologist. You want to be the best navigator. You want to be the next person that knows how to, make ultimate supreme ships. I forgot what it's called, but Chopper want to be the best doctor. Brook, I don't know what he wanted to be the best in, but I feel like he realized the crew that he had when he outlived them. Like I said, when you outlive your people, he found, even though he looks like a walking, talking, musical corpse in a suit, he found a new life, with a new crew to make him, to make life worth living again. And life is the truest gift, man. At times we want to take ourselves out or not be here because of everything piling up to where it's like hard to breathe. And I know that feeling. I know that feeling. And you wish you had people that, you thought cared for you would be there, and they're not there. You know what I'm saying? I made peace with a lot of things. And the reason why I was able to watch One Piece from top to bottom is because my home, my environment carries a certain level of peace to where I could enjoy and educate myself on what's out there, and seeing how people think to illustrate their ideas and their points. And my environment, I could really call it home. You know what I'm saying? And when you watch certain shows, movies, or whatever, they might have a memory attached to it where you feel like you was at home, like it was comfortable. You can remember where you was at when you watched certain movies, and everything was on and up. You know what I mean? Like One Piece, it almost, not even almost, it made me like time travel in a way. Because if I was watching One Piece when I was a kid, it'd be right there in my Toonami, Dragon Ball Z, Yu Yu Hakusho, Sailor Moon. It would be right in that Gundam slot. Like, you know what I'm saying? In Yuyasha, it'd be like, and again, I've seen it around. I just never really watched it like that. And a lot of it, too, is just because of, access to things, access to cable TV, access to games, or having money for the games, or, by the time I got access to things in life that seemed like regular things to other people that always had the access and maybe had it earlier than I'm just now getting hip with it. You know what I'm saying? But I could tell based off the graphics and all they was doing, it was definitely from a time period where other, shows were illustrating the same things. You know what I'm saying? And it's just beautiful, man. It's just beautiful. Shout outs to everybody that made One Piece the thing, the wave, the top tier story that it is to be, because, they really captured something special. And I want to be able to do that in my music. Honest to God. Like, I didn't even know that just dropping song after song, because, for cats that do it, we get criticized. We get criticized for over flooding the market, but it's like, yo, like, let me build the mall. Let me build the, the Tower of Dreams. Let me build that, because I know if I build it, they'll show up. They'll come. That's real. But I got to build it, and I'm not the only one with a mallet. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, like, I team up with other creatives to make things happen. And I might not be, having collaborations with everybody, because, everybody got their own thing on why they do what they do. If it's to shine more than others, then they feel like if I'm shining too much, they probably not gonna come this way. But that's ego that prevents them from walking within their blessing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never really charged anybody for a verse. You can't really afford me. The time is priceless. It's timeless. It's what I'm operating from to then put in the said product. It doesn't mean that when I get bigger, though, that I'm just gonna keep operating that way, because you should get paid for what you do. Absolutely. It's just I've been having a hard time figure out how to charge the verse. And I really have. You know what I'm saying? I know it take money to build my graphics, my albums, my buying the beats, or what, leasing it, or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Buying interviews, that's a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know a few DJs in my life that, played my music and really showcased it with their fans, and none of that was really with a charge. They just did that because it was solid music. So, everybody got their own thing, but shout out to the ones that, is just curious on finding out new ways to write new stories to fall in love with, because, you know, the game is a bit stale. I'm not gonna lie. Waiting on, the big three to drop. It's like we got a whole genre of people making music. Music shouldn't be contingent on only three people that just have a crazy output of putting great music out. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's where we come in. You know what I'm saying? The rising stars, the shooting stars, like the ones that are bubbling ideas that they might thief and take and never give credit, but you know that you got to keep going anyway, because you're just leaving behind a digital trail to your digital paradise. And when someone really finds their way down the path to where now we about to go, roaming with the giants in Elbath, it's just gonna be crazy. It's just gonna be crazy. Like, it's just gonna be crazy. I didn't think I was gonna cook this long for this episode, but I don't even really know what to call it. But keep climbing. Keep climbing to the top, man. Whether you get a round of applause for it or not, keep climbing. Be at the top of your mountain and realize, like, man, like, there's still more to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, take it all in, look at that view, and really be a mountain goat with this shit. Like, really be a goat. I might not have my face carved in the Mount Rushmore of everyone's favorite or who they think is the best in that bracket, but I could definitely be a mountain goat on on the shoulders of the giants, or even on the head top of the giants. You know what I'm saying? And just you know what I mean? Take it all in. Like, just appreciate the fact that you got there. Not everybody could breathe at the same altitude, man. Not everybody could be where you at right now. And this is a life experience. So when you there, like, give thanks for that. Show love for that. You'll be immortalized for that. I promise you. And on that note, I love y'all. Make sure y'all put your thoughts in the comment section. What's your favorite animes? What you into? My music, you can find it under Blame Bent, BLANEBENT, on all streams, all socials. Unfortunately for Facebook, you know what I'm saying? Because we not there anymore. But yeah, man, everything else you can find me, man. SoundCloud is king. You're gonna get a lot of exclusives there. I kind of treat that like how Dat Piff used to be, and I just pray to God that they don't close out like Dat Piff, because I got a boatload over there. I got a whole going Mary over there, a whole boatload of just treasure and just, yeah, man. That's, if you want to know where the new drops are before I even hit the streams. And crazy enough, I was thinking about not even putting my new shit on streams, and I know, like, I'm a fresh artist and whatnot, so it might be a hindrance, because the more portals for people's everyday use, the better. But sometimes rare shit and exclusivity, it just matters more. You know what I mean? It's more enticing to be like, ooh, what's over there? And if I can make a couple of dollars that way, it's gonna help me out greatly. So yeah, man. Big ups to anime. Big W for anime. Catch you on the next episode. Peace.